Hi friends, I'm going to try to keep this simple. I want to do a quick kind of how-to, comment and use VoiceThread, and a little bit of why. Okay, let's start off with the why. You're going to be making arguments about your themes. You're going to be exploring specific images that you saw at the museum and related images to that, and then also connecting to your theme. One of the things you're going to do is think about how do you show that evidence. Sometimes it works really nicely linearly, right? An essay can do that nicely with images, etc. But VoiceThread can make it go back and forth. You can pose questions in very different ways in your argument and presenting of evidence. You can have very easy and intuitive asides. And it's also an amazing collaborative tool. I'll show you a few of those things. One thing I would suggest is right in the beginning, go to your identities, click your area, hit edit. I'm not going to do it right now because of the video. If I click that, it will stop this video that I'm making, okay? Because it can't do two things at once, the computer at least. So change that identity so this way when you're commenting, you'll see it. You'll see if you're in VoiceThread all of these groups. You will also see if you go to Safari, if you go to Reading Evidence, the Story of Things, you click on Project Outline and Guidelines, you will see VoiceThread projects. Okay? It's a little slow. They are all in here. Okay? They are all in here. Now, one of the things that's going to happen, why is this so slow? Okay. You see it says sign in here for me? Like if I click this, it says sign in. Excuse me. That's because I'm signed in on VoiceThread on Google Chrome. Safari, I'm not in there. I did that so that you could see when you click it, right? That's where it's going to be. It's going to be yours. If you're using a shared computer at school, be very careful to sign in and out properly and go to your groups that are appropriate. All right, so this is a splash page that you can go to all your work. Now, if we go to Project Outline and Guidelines, okay, you will see that what's due for Monday in terms of research. And here, I know my art history students, we really worked hard to do this in class, and so everyone's fine. A couple people had problems. You might have to reset your password multiple times. And the main thing to keep in mind is once you've created your account and you're logged into VoiceThread, probably come back to this link, right? And then it will invite you into the group, all right? So even though you're in VoiceThread, you're not automatically in the group. You have to come back to the link, and that link will then take you into the group, okay? Also look here, shared work documents. So you click your Google Drive folder. For your group, you find your area, okay? All of them are in here. I don't know the groups. I'm going to click group 3. I have no idea if they've done anything yet. Oh, they have. Look, so we have all these notes that are already there. That's group 3 work. What's wonderful then is group 3 can then go to their VoiceThread, and now I'm going to get into the workings. So for example, this is what Nadim kind of set up. I'm going to let you listen to just a little bit, right? Scene of Autumn Heron, portrayed by European painter in 19th century Western Europe. Let's hear it from Nadim. I have to hit play, I think.
In my slides, I decided to explore the different ways that women, or Muslim and Middle Eastern women, are portrayed in Western art. So I chose 3 pieces. The first is a painting of an Ottoman harem by a Western European artist sometime in the 19th century. This artist actually did not go to the Ottoman Empire and did not actually visit an Ottoman harem. So this is, in a way, all in the artist's imagination. And I find it interesting that this artist chose to depict what seems like a really hypersexualized space, where the woman in the center, of course, is much whiter than the darker men and the darker figures.
So I'm going to stop it there. A couple of things in relation to what Nadim put in. He had some other slides, and he talks about them. I found this. I found a few images, and I'll talk about them just super briefly. And so from a collaborative standpoint, right, I might come here and click Add a Text Comment. So Nadim, I found this interesting from Iran, also 19th century, where this figure seems quite white as well. I wonder if there were Western leaning ideas. Now, I also wrote this, and I also made this in a video comment when I looked at the Shirin Nishat over here. And so this, I also made a comment, right, on how this form, very similar, but very different, right? Similar form to this dancing, but one, this is hypersexualized, and this one feels culturally, right, much more within, I would say costume. The costume in here feels very traditional. It was done by an Iranian artist of the culture. And so that idea of depicting from a culture versus depicting outside of a culture is one that still persists today. Could talk about Carrie Mae Weems, for example, and the depiction of African Americans and how she wanted to turn the camera on her own family and her own people to define that. So that's an aside. But here's Shirin Nishat is a contemporary artist in New York, and she's very interested, and I wrote some comments here, kind of looking at the tensions between men and women, between the East and the West, between Islamic culture and Western culture. So all these things I started thinking about with Nadim's early slides. And additionally, one of the things I wanted to note is that it was harder to find images than I thought it would be of depictions of women, Muslim women, made by Muslim artists. It was much harder for me to find. So in terms of how you do things, if you were to click the video, you also would be able to click some pencils here with different colors and circle areas and annotate. I showed you how to use this. You can also just make an audio comment, or you can create images. And also, while you're talking, you can slide, just as I'm doing right now, in your video comment on VoiceThread. So what I really want you to do is have some fun, is think about the best ways to collaborate, and then to ultimately present. So, so one of the things you can do is you could say, I could say, Nadim, what do you think about also connecting artists like Shirin Nishat as showing the difference that occurs when someone from a culture depicts their own culture. So I've already mentioned this, right? But I might want to, as a collaborator, to make sure we answer that question before we move on. And so this could be your collaborative tool. You can work asynchronously, leaving very specific questions, right? You could do this on a Google Doc, but I think it's much different when you're looking at the pictures themselves. Anyway, friends, good luck. If you have a technical problem, email me. I really want you to watch this first, right? And make sure you've tried all the things that you can try, resetting passwords to get into VoiceThread. Once you're into VoiceThread and once you're into this group, you also can find VoiceThread tutorials elsewhere. I wanted to make this one specifically for our purposes. And friends, enjoy. Thank you.